Hey guys, so today we're talking about intervals. Specifically, we're looking at intervals on our coordinate grids because we need to know those intervals in order to appropriately label or identify the points on our grid. So, an interval is the pattern or skip count that's being used consistently on things like a number line, our coordinate grids, measuring cups, or many more things. So, today we're focusing on the coordinate grid. So when we look at a coordinate grid, we have to identify our origin. It's already given to us. It's the point we start at, 0, 0. Then our x-axis is the one that we go across. We use that one first. Next, we use our y-axis. The y-axis goes up or vertical. So it's like you have to crawl across and then you can walk up to your y-axis. Okay, so let's look at the intervals. So if I notice my x-axis first. From my origin, I skip a line and then I have 20. And I notice that the ones that are given are counting by 20. So 20, 40, 60, 80. So I need to figure out what is that line in the middle representing, or what interval are we going up by? So the way I would do it is I would look at my origin and my 20. So they're the line directly in the middle. If I put those numbers on a number line, I know that half of 20 would be 10. So that would be right in the middle. So I'm going to guess and check and see if that would work. So from my 0, my first line would be 10, 20. Next line would be 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. It would continue on. So that tells me that my intervals for the x-axis are going up by tens. Now looking at my y-axis, it could have a different interval. So from my origin, 0, I go up to 10. Then we skip 1 and go to 20. So at first, I thought it was just going up by tens, but since I noticed there's a line in the middle of 10 and 20, I need to figure out what that would be. So halfway between 10 and 20 would be 15. So that tells me that I'm not going up by tens, I'm going up by something else. So if that number would be 15, we're going to say that I'm not going up by tens, I'm going up by possibly fives. So 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. That works. So the intervals for my y-axis are going up by fives. For another example, we have our origin labeled. Remember, our x goes across and our y goes up and down. It's vertically. So for my x-axis, we notice that from my origin, I get to the whole number 1, but there's a line in the middle. So this tells us that that's going to be a part. If we put 0 and 1 on a number line, directly in the middle would be represented as a half, or 0.5. So if we were to check it, we'd have 0, a half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3. And so that shows that our intervals are going up by a half, or 0.5. And I'm looking at my y-axis. I start from my origin, get to 2, skip 1, 6. Okay, so they're even numbers, but I noticed that I went from 2 to 6. That means I skipped the 4. So would it make sense to say 2, 4, 6, 8, 10? It looks like the pattern would continue to me. So instead of skipping 4s, we're actually skipping by 2s. So my intervals for that y-axis would be by 2s. So to recap, remember your interval is the pattern or skip counting being used consistently. It can be on a number line. Basically, these coordinate grids have number lines, and that's what we're representing it as. So make sure you identify those first. All right, thanks, guys.